Single-hand spey casting, the pros and cons. First, let's go over the benefits. The first and obvious benefit is you don't need any room to backcast. You'll find that without the need for backcasting room, your fishing will become much more versatile, and you'll find that you're able to fish in areas that you weren't able to fish before. The most common areas being areas with high banks and areas with low-hanging branches. The next benefit of single-hand spey casting is it's very efficient. Your line spends most of the time in the water fishing rather than false casting, and because of this, you'll have less wear on your arms and shoulders. You'll find after a long day of fishing, you won't be as tired. And because your line spends more time in the water, it will tangle less. When overhead casting and false casting, you'll have less control over your line. Combine that with the wind, tree branches, and other obstructions in your environment, snags and wind knots will occur more often. And from there we get to the next benefit, and single-hand spey casting is great for nymphing. When fishing large nymph systems, tangles become a common thing. By keeping your line in the water when you cast, you can reduce the amount of tangles significantly. In addition to the less tangles, single-hand spey casting is also great for throwing heavy nymph rigs. I find that I can cast them further and more accurately. And to recap the benefits, the first one is it requires no backcasting, so that makes the fishing much more versatile. The next one on the list is it is efficient. You will be spending more time fishing and less time casting, and you'll be less tired at the end of the day. And the next one on the list is less tangles, and this is because your line isn't being aerialized and spends most of the time in the water. And the last one of the benefits is it's great for nymphing. Of course, because of the big nymph rigs, they will tangle more, and this kind of reduces it because your line's in the water. And not only that, is it also casts further and it casts more accurately. So now on to the disadvantages of single-hand spey casting. So the first disadvantage is you'll need to learn how to single-hand spey cast. It's not difficult to learn, but you do need to practice. So in addition to learning how to overhead cast, single-hand spey casting is another beast on its own. So the most obvious disadvantage to single-hand spey casting is you need to be in the water when you perform the cast. You need the water to anchor the fly line when you cast. So if you're in a situation where the water becomes very deep really quickly, or you need to fish from shore, this will not work. So only use single-hand spey casting where it's warranted. Another disadvantage to single-hand spey casting is you won't be casting as far as you would if you were overhand casting. I find I can overhand cast further than I can single-hand spey cast, but really at the end of the day, single-hand spey casting is not about distance, it's about versatility. Accuracy is not one of the strengths of single-hand spey casting. I know I mentioned earlier that I'm more accurate throwing heavy nymph rigs single-hand spey casting, but that's an exception. If you're fishing dry flies and need accurate, delicate presentations at moderate distances, overhead casting would probably be best suited for these situations. So here's a recap of the disadvantages of single-hand spey casting. So the first one is obvious, you'll need to learn how to single-hand spey cast. So in addition to the overhead cast, single-hand spey cast is something you need to learn how to do. The next one is you'll need to stand in the water when you perform single-hand spey cast. The fly line requires water tension, so if you're on land or you're in a very deep pool, single-hand spey casting may not be the tool for the job. The next one on the list is it's not really meant to cast far in comparison to the standard overhead cast. It casts a good distance, but really overhead casting will get you much further, and overhead casting will be more accurate as well. You can be accurate with the single-hand spey cast, but if you're fishing moderate distances with dry flies, I would stick with the standard overhead cast. So those are the pros and cons of single-hand spey casting. Saying all that, it's important to understand that we aren't choosing between single-hand spey casting and traditional overhead casting. As I described in the video, both methods have their advantages and disadvantages, and depending on the situation, use the style that suits it best. Thank you for watching.